allowing us to come before you. Lord, we ask that you would bless our city. We ask that you would bless every resident who resides within its boundaries and every child. Lord, we ask that you would bless our council with wisdom and compassion so that we can do the job and the work that you have set before us. These and all other blessings we ask in your Son's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Norfolk City Council public hearing for the proposed operating and capital improvement program budgets for fiscal year July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019. To address the council, you should have registered your name, address, and subject with the clerk outside in the lobby of the school. Speakers are permitted to 3 minutes and are requested to limit their remarks to the subject under discussion. When your name is called, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and for the record. Written statements and other supportive material should be given to the city clerk. The procedure we will follow tonight is I will call your name, call a second name. The first person will come to the podium. The second will take a seat in the reserved spot on the first row. Again, you have 3 minutes. Please be respectful of everyone's time. After the last speaker is called, I will tap the gavel and the meeting will be adjourned. Again, thank you for being here. The first speaker is our chairman of our school board, Mr. Rodney Jordan.
Good evening. Representing Norfolk Public Schools tonight, 800 East City Hall Avenue, Norfolk, Virginia. I'm really just coming on behalf of the school board to first say that on behalf of the board, we are in support of the proposal that City Manager Doug Smith has presented to you. I really don't want to come and talk about Norfolk Public Schools in particular. What I really like to speak to you about is something that Richard Florida speaks to in terms of economic development in creative cities, and 3 T's that he talks about: talent, technology, and tolerance. And so as I consider and read, and as the board, as we've worked over the last several months in preparing for the budget that we submitted to you, and as I know you all have worked very hard for the proposal that's before you, to me what we're really talking about is talent, technology, and tolerance, and I might add a couple of other T's, being transformational and transparent. Norfolk Public Schools educates about 85% of all the children who live in the city of Norfolk. That is our current and future talent pool. We know the importance of technology and being able to utilize those resources in such a way that allows us to prepare our children for the future job opportunities. You all are very proud of being the most diverse city council that we have ever had, and we know with that also comes great tolerance and understanding. In order for us to invest in the talent and to have the technology and to have the creative city that we know we have and want to continue to see grow, it also requires us as a school division to invest in our talent. And so while there's been conversations out there about maybe as a school board and a city council we don't collaborate, in reality, we do collaborate. We sit down with one another. We listen to each other's work sessions. We talk about the importance of talent. We talk about Norfolk Public Schools being the cornerstone of a proudly diverse community. We have leadership meetings. And so all this is today is an opportunity for us to put in action those bold initiatives that you've asked the city manager to put forward and those bold and accountability systems that we've asked the superintendent to do likewise. So I would ask that we continue to work together, take advantage of this proposal as an opportunity to reinvest in our city, in our emerging workforce, take on the challenge of being the Joshua generation that finally enters into the promised land and set the tone for the next 40, 50 years. And again, just keep in mind as Norfolk Public Schools, we are a partner with you as the delivery system for this emerging workforce that I mentioned. Finally, I'll just, if you don't mind, I'd just like to quote a little bit of Frederick Douglass as we deal with the tough challenges and the tough decisions that we have to make. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are people who want crops without plowing the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the roar of its many waters. This is an opportunity for us to set the tone for the next 50 years for our generation and the generations to follow. So thank you for consideration of the proposal, and we stand in support of Manager Smith's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Melinda Boone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor Alexander, ladies and gentlemen of council, and City Manager Smith, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to address you regarding the city's FY19 budget and specifically the budget for Norfolk Public Schools. Public schools in Virginia continue to struggle to rebound from the massive reductions in funding of public education from the state since the recession. Reports by the Commonwealth Institute highlight the significant decreases in K-12 funding, with the highest poverty districts experiencing the greatest declines in state funding. Norfolk was not exempt from those reductions. Counties, cities, and towns have been faced with working to close the gap between declining state funding and the goals communities have for high-quality education and the significant impact that education has on economic development. Nearly all communities in the state exceed the minimum level of support for public education as defined by the state. Norfolk, too, exceeds the minimum level of support. I am appreciative of the city manager's proposed budget that includes $5 million in additional ongoing support for Norfolk Public Schools' operating budget. I am also appreciative of the $4 million increase in maintenance support for our schools. And I am also appreciative of the identification of funds to be set aside for school construction. The FY19 budget proposal is a great beginning and a very strong statement of the city's commitment to public education and hopefully signals even stronger future collaboration for the schools. I want to share with you what the school board's proposal allows us to accomplish in Norfolk Public Schools. Phase 2 of our pay and comp study with an average 3.3% salary increase for teachers and support staff. Positions for the Arts Specialty Program at Booker T. Washington High School. New positions to support behavioral needs of students in schools with high levels of suspension. To pilot a new mixed-income pre-K classroom to further the school board's goals of expanding its focus on greater socioeconomic diversity within our schools and programs. And to continue high-quality programming, course offerings in specialty schools and programs that were often part of the cutting process of the recession. In this, the third budget that I have submitted to the school board, we continue to address declining enrollment by focusing on staff realignments and reductions while being committed to not compromising the educational goals and expectation. Through the 3 budgets I have submitted, the district will have downsized by 87 positions, 79 of those being teaching positions. As I've said previously to council, I don't believe in asking for additional funding without showing our efforts to concurrently look inside the district for efficiencies. To that end, the district has continued its educational planning efforts with the goal of addressing the utilization of our school buildings, attendance boundaries, and maximizing transportation across the city. The Council of Great City Schools has conducted reviews of our operations in transportation, finance, and facilities to assist us in ensuring that we're employing the best practices and efficient practices for a well-run 21st century district. The elephant in the room, how does all of this get paid for? The city manager's proposal includes a real estate tax increase. As superintendent of Norfolk Public Schools, a resident and a taxpayer, I stand in full support of the tax increase to support not only the schools, but also the needed city services and improvements for our community. Dedicated funding to city projects, programs, and schools will be funds well utilized. Examples of the return on investment of funding in public education includes improving student achievement and school accreditation ratings from 61% of the schools not meeting state accreditation 2 years ago till today, 61.4% of our schools have met that benchmark. Continuation of 35 advanced placement courses, movement towards launching a comprehensive career and technical education high school in collaboration with the business community and the city of Norfolk. Our enhanced collaboration with the military and the class of 2017 earning over $68 million in scholarship opportunities. As one of the top 10 employers in Norfolk, Norfolk Public Schools is making a measurable difference in the quality of life in this city. None of this would be possible without the dedication, commitment, and skill of our teachers, principals, and administrators, support staff, who each and every day strive to make our theory of action a living laboratory of success. Tonight, I'm wearing a symbol of our hashtag NPS redesign, our strategic focus for improving educational outcomes for all students. The 4 gears represent that strategic focus and actions around leadership, literacy, rigor, and innovation. Our theory of action states, Norfolk Public Schools will be able to develop their individual, Norfolk Public Schools students will be able to develop their individual potential, maximize skills for lifelong learning, and successfully contribute to a global society. All personnel will intentionally facilitate an environment that supports exemplary and innovative teaching and learning opportunities in every school, in every classroom, every day, for every student, no exception. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts regarding the FY19 budget, and most importantly, our shared commitment in fostering a highly successful public education system in this city. I look forward to discussing this budget further during the work session next Tuesday, April 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Glenn Porter.
Good evening.
And Tommy Johnson to follow.
Thank you, Mayor Alexander, City
you.
Manager Smith, and City Council members for this opportunity to speak in support of the proposed 2019 budget. I'm Glenn Porter. I serve as Senior Pastor Servant Leader at Queen Street Baptist Church, 413 East Brambleton Avenue in Norfolk. I also serve as a member of the newly formed and appointed St. Paul's Advisory Committee, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to be part of that committee. As pastor at Queen Street, it's my privilege and joy to serve a congregation that has served and worshiped in downtown Norfolk since 1884. We were organized by a small group of former slaves and free blacks. We're committed to Norfolk City and downtown in particular. One example of this is demonstrated in the fact that annually we serve about 6,000 free meals to the community. That's just one example. Most recently, we partnered with the city to serve as a host site for the Bank on Hampton Roads financial literacy program. Again, we're committed to our beloved community. This is our Christian witness. Our neighbors and our members include some of those among the 1,674 households comprising Tidewater Gardens, Young Terrace, and Calvert Square. As you know, as a member of the St. Paul's Advisory Committee, our goal is people first. Now, it's because of these dual roles that I come here tonight in support of the proposed budget. It's my sincere prayer that this budget will put people first in an innovative and compassionate vision of community transformation. Consider this. According to the Norfolk Plan to Reduce Poverty annual report in 2016, the population in the city in 2014 was 246,393, with the number of people living in poverty that was 49,465. And most recently, the New York Times reported on how our Hampton Roads region has the highest eviction rate in the nation, and Norfolk is number 6 in America. This is troubling, and it's heartbreaking. We've got to reimagine our city. Safe, affordable housing should be available for everybody. As I understand this increase, just 1.90 cents, not even 2 cents, of the proposed real estate increase will go toward the funds for the St. Paul's People First initiative for the next 5 years. I realize that we cannot afford not to invest in our great city. There are many concerns, fears, and issues of trust regarding this project. I, too, have some apprehension based on what I've learned about some of the city's past attempts with urban development. However, I take the city's establishment of the advisory committee as a genuine attempt to get it right this time for a new generation. This is a new day, and it's imperative that we have the proper funds necessary to proceed properly with this project. People first, and thank you for listening.
I'm Tommy Johnson. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Norfolk, longer than I want to admit out here tonight. First, I want to thank each of you for the time and effort that you spend as council people. In another almost life, I was on the school board for 14 years, 10 of which I was chairman, and I sat through public hearings like this, and I appeared before your predecessors on behalf of the school board, and the time and energy and the citizen input that you accept, we appreciate that. It's not an easy job, and thank you for that. Currently, I'm chairman of the Greater Norfolk Corporation Task Force for the establishment of a full-time academic technical high school in the city of Norfolk, modeled on the Worcester Tech model, which President Obama spoke at the graduation in 2016 and recognized it was the gold standard for career technical high schools in the country. I'm speaking as an individual, but I'm chairman of that task force, and we have worked for over 5 years to try to bring that into fruition. It's been endorsed by the Norfolk School Board. The council has shown it has support for it. It's not your father's or your grandfather's trade school. It has AP courses. It's a pathway for the many students who need additional training beyond high school. They need certification. They need 2 year. They need to go to community college. At the Worcester Tech School, 77% of the students go on to either 2 year or 4 year programs. It's a full-time, has AP courses there. So it's a model. It's transformative for the students. It can be transformative for the Norfolk school system. The investment for the building is approximately $100 million. That's a lot of money, but that's what high schools cost, and this one will have additional features. We hope the business community and the philanthropic community is going to, I believe, be a supporter of this, but the major bulk is going to have to come from the city of Norfolk. In addition, you all have launched onto the St. Paul Squadron Renaissance that we just heard the Reverend speak of, and I commend you for the courage of taking that challenge on. But as the city manager recognizes, that's going to take sustained investment that he has in this budget. As a homeowner, I get my real estate tax assessments, and for a fleeting moment, I say, you know, my assessment didn't go up, I'm not going to have to pay any more. And then I think about it, and I say, well, wait a minute, that means my house didn't go up in value, and I'm not so sure that's where I want to be. But I also realize that it means that the city's not getting more real estate taxes because the assessments didn't go up. And I think for the last 3 years, my assessment's been flat. And I look at it, the first thing I look at when it comes in the house. So if the city's expenses are going up and the assessments are flat, the tax rate has to go up if the city's going to meet its needs. So I'm not one for increasing taxes, and I never thought I'd be down here in front of the city council saying I endorse the city manager's proposal for a 10-cent real estate tax increase because it's necessary if the CTE school is going to be a reality, if the St. Paul's are going to be a reality. Excuse me. Now, having said that, there are other city needs that have to be met. And one final note. I'm in an office building downtown Norfolk. I'm very concerned about the parking increase rate. We're in competition with Town Center at Virginia Beach, where the beach builds free parking garages and then gives free parking. And it's a challenge. If you implement that parking increase that you're talking about all in one gulp, it'll make our downtown office, and I'm not here for any client, this is my view, we'll make ourselves non-competitive and businesses in downtown Norfolk will be able to get a lower per square foot rent in the office building in town center. And it's kind of like, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like a trade war between Virginia Beach and downtown Norfolk, and there's nothing they'd rather do than build free parking garages and have our office tenants downtown and our employees move out there. So take a close look at that. Thank you again for letting me speak to you. It's a privilege to be here, and I'll give you my best graces. Thank you.
Dorothy Daniel and Slanta Lambert.
Yes, good evening. I have a young child. First, my name is Dorothy Daniel. I'm at 413 East Only Road, Norfolk, Virginia. And I do have a daughter. She's in the Norfolk Public School. She attends P.B. Young Elementary. And I've volunteered plenty times at that school. And there's a need for upgrade. There's a lot that should be done for these elementary schools. I see how hard the staff, the teachers work. I've seen that if they haven't received a raise, that these teachers do deserve this. It would be great to know if the school is able to have an upgrade. I've witnessed leaking in the roof. I've worked in the main office just to volunteer, and there's a need for more staff within the main office. I haven't lived in the area long, but it would be nice that that school does get an upgrade. It's needed, it's much needed. The staff, I can't talk how much I love the people there and the staff, and they're wonderful to my daughter, and I've seen such difference in her, and she's only in pre-K. In the budget, there should be an increase for these teachers that deserve it. And I'm hoping that you guys do take in consideration that these schools need an upgrade. They do need changes within the community. If that is done, maybe things with the kids would be better. So I'm just hoping that you guys do take in consideration that the schools do need upgrades and teachers do deserve raises. So I thank you for giving me this time. Thank you.
Good evening, school board, school council, and other stakeholders. My name is Shantae Lambert, and I teach at second grade at P.B. Young Senior Elementary School. I have successfully taught various grade levels at this same school for 16 years now, thus proving and exhibiting my love, loyalty, and coveted experience and educational level to my students and Norfolk School District, having been a proud and successful product of Norfolk Public Schools myself. I come to you with 3 concerns I would like you to consider for budgeting, staff recruitment, and definitely staff retainment. Issues that will enhance all staff members' quality of life regarding the work environment. Number 1, neighborhood crime. It disrupts our daily classroom instruction with several real lockdowns throughout the school year. It affects daily outside recess for students and staff for fear of being in a random crossfire. It hinders students' school day and trust in community helpers such as the police department, as well as it diminishes students' positive outlook on their future lives. One of my students this past Wednesday expressed his disappointment in the police department for not coming to his now deceased uncle's aid before he was fatally shot. He said to me that morning, "Mrs. Lambert, why aren't the police ever around when you need them? They should have been there in the neighborhood when the arguing was going on. If they were, they could have saved my uncle." Number 2, an abundance of special needs students ailing from several types of developmental and emotional dysfunctions. It disrupts daily classroom instruction with several loud outbursts, screams, running away, becoming physically abusive in class and in the halls. It affects other students' ability to have a positive teaching and learning school day, which in turn diminishes their ability to practice and retain information for needed growth. It lacks the proper and knowledgeable support system that we are needed to provide services instead of using our instructional and administrative team to walk hand in hand or to carry violent students around the school all day to calm them down. Number 3, the need to incorporate a significant pay increase to retain veteran teachers and staff with years of experience in education and degrees to match. We need, as well as to recruit new teachers and staff, especially at PB Young Senior Elementary, where we often dodge bullets and comfort students, all while providing instruction to the developmentally delayed and to the elite and high ability gifted student. And including this year, we fulfilled the job of 2 teachers per 1 teacher by having extra students because we have long-term subs. This teaching environment requires a staff member to go above and beyond the normal call of duty, arriving an hour or 2 ahead of the required check-in time to prepare for daily instruction, disaggregating data to provide for daily remediation and acceleration for each and every child, preparing for alternate lessons and activities that may meet a student's current emotional level, and providing and explaining activities and teaching tips for parents to raise their awareness of the current curriculum in order for them to provide assistance to their children. So as you see, ladies and gentlemen of Norfolk Public Schools, these concerns crime, various student, educational, and emotional needs, extra teaching preparations, and a lack of helpful staff members willing to put forth the extra effort needed for our students' success diminishes the veteran teachers' quality of life because we go through so much daily and we do not receive ample compensation to show for it. Thank you.
Cheryl Lacey and Tony Brothers.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander and council members. My name is Cheryl Lacey, and I reside at 605 Resch Court in Chesapeake. I'm celebrating my 20th year in Norfolk Public Schools. I came before you last year, and I'm here again this year, urging you to fully fund the NPS budget. I shouldn't have to be here. I shouldn't have to beg you to do what's right for our students. But here I am, taking my free time to be here to make sure my students are taken care of because they deserve it. They deserve a lot of things. They deserve a teacher in every classroom, not a long-term sub that stays the whole year. They deserve schools without leaks or bugs. They deserve teachers who are compensated fairly, not teachers who live paycheck to paycheck, wondering if they'll be able to pay their bills. Or teachers who have to file bankruptcy because they have to use their credit cards just to get by. This past year saw the opening of the Main and the Premium Outlet Mall. Those successful projects should be producing revenue that will go to our school system. You've proposed a 10-cent tax increase. That money should also be earmarked for our schools. We all know that the neighboring school systems pay more for beginning and veteran teachers. How many years will it take until you help stop the bleeding and pay teachers not only what they're worth, but what they'll make if they leave? We love our students in schools, but love doesn't pay the bills. I support Dr. Boone in everything she's doing to right this ship, but she can't do it alone. You need to hear her. She's providing us with steadfast leadership. I know in my heart she'd pay us what she knows we're worth if she could. It's your responsibility to show your commitment to education by paying teachers competitive salaries and finding a teacher for every classroom. Our schools are crumbling. Our teacher base is crumbling. Our foundation is unstable. Please do something now before our house implodes. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Tony Brothers, 220 West Brambleton, and in 24 years in the NBA, I take bullets from people all the time, but what you all get, and you actually run to get that position in order to take the criticism, I have to applaud you for it. And in saying that, I just wanted to come and say thank you. Bruce Smith, Sweet Pea Whitaker, and myself came to you last year because there were issues at Booker T. Washington High School, and we had talked with Dr. Boone, the head of the school board, about it, and I think we were pretty vicious in sort of how we came at them, and they said we don't have the money to do what we need to do. And so we came to you all, and you all said, well, we give them money, and it's for them to figure out what to do. I just want to applaud you. I'm a citizen here. My taxes are going to go up. I don't mind paying if the money is going to go to help the schools. I'm hoping that in that 10% that comes out, that this is ongoing so that Dr. Boone, who said if I get the money, I can do the work, that she will be able to do the work. And I personally will hold her accountable, and I will hold the head of the school board accountable, because we've come to try to help to get them what they need. And I think, in closing, the St. Paul quadrant, what you're planning to do there, I think is something we need to do. To drive down through some of those neighborhoods, I don't want anybody to be out on the streets, but we have to put them in better places. We have to put people in better conditions. I'm fortunate enough to send my kids to private school, but I'm a product of Booker T. Washington High School, and I turned out okay. And so if we can change things and make things better for everybody, everybody will have the chance to be a referee in the NBA. Thank you.
Jessica Olson and Thomas Calhoun.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander, City Council members. My name is Jessica Olson. I reside at 1565 Michigan Avenue in Virginia Beach. While I may not be a resident of Norfolk, I am a committed and passionate educator of Norfolk Public School students. During the course of my 13 years of employment with Norfolk Public Schools, I have witnessed the drastic cuts made to education that plagues our city, state, and country. I understand that Norfolk isn't bringing in as much revenue as anticipated, but failing to fully fund the proposed NPS budget will not improve the revenue stream. To create a thriving city, you must first create thriving schools. According to a recent Virginia Pilot article written by Mike Connors and Sarah Gregory, a breakdown of the 5 Southampton Road school budget proposals, the city of Norfolk came in next to last. If we want Norfolk to be the first city people think of when choosing a place to live in Southampton Roads, shouldn't we be the first in school funding? The city of Virginia Beach funds 51.9% of their school's operating budget, compared to Norfolk, which only funds 38.8%. Virginia Beach's proposed budget includes nearly 24 additional instructional positions to help reduce class sizes, as well as a 2% raise for their employees, more depending on the state's budget. Virginia Beach is also a school division that pays their teachers at a rate that is comparable to their years of experience, and has hired and will continue to hire many Norfolk Public School teachers that are tired of being paid below their experience level. The Norfolk Public Schools budget plans to address this issue. If we want Norfolk to be the first city people think of when choosing a place to live in Southampton Roads, shouldn't we be fully funding our school and focused on retaining our veteran teachers? Why tell Norfolk School Board to ask for what they need and not be prepared to fully fund them? If we were asking for what we want, it would be far greater than $6.2 million. As stated in the city's mission statement, leadership shall be directed to the strengthening Norfolk as an economic and cultural hub of Hampton Roads, to preserving and enhancing the environmental setting and assets of the city, and to improving the quality of life and opportunities for the diverse populations living in, working in, and visiting Norfolk. Is NPS an asset to the city? Are you improving the quality of life and opportunities for those living in, working in, and visiting Norfolk if you aren't fully funding our proposed budget? Again, I say to you, to create a thriving city, you must first create thriving schools. Please fully fund the Norfolk Public Schools proposed budget. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander, City Council. My name is Thomas Calhoun. I'm a resident of Norfolk, and I'm president of the Norfolk Federation of Teachers. I think I have some memos in here somewhere. I asked them to wear the shirts from their schools so we could see the different schools that are represented here rather than wear our NFT shirts so we could see them all together. I'm here to ask you to fully fund the school board budget as usual, like many others. I understand the tax increases in there. I have no problem with that. I'm an over 50-year resident of this city. I have no problem paying a higher tax. I would pretty much sacrifice almost anything for the education of our kids. That's what we do. I don't have any problem making that sacrifice. None of us do. Everybody that works in the school system, Mayor, sacrifices. I think you've heard one or two examples tonight. We certainly sacrifice salary, time, and personal money. You don't hear many of them there. It's funny how teachers never talk about how they spend the money out of their own pocket, but they do. In this job I have now, I've taken so many calls, sacrificed relationships, sacrificed marriages. I've taken the calls, heartbreaking calls. They don't mind sacrificing. That's why they're here. So they say she's still at Young's Park for 16 years. That's what we do. We sacrifice. So we don't mind that. Retirement benefits, salaries. What we want is for you all to know that we sacrifice. That's what we want. We all know what we do. We want you to understand. You see, because when the city manager does his budget, our sacrifices don't turn up on his balance sheet, and there's not going to be a debit or a credit on his ledger. So when you crunch numbers, you won't find us. If all you do is crunch numbers, you will never find us. And we will never be the priority that we should be, which is the educators of our children. So I'm here tonight to ask you to fully fund this budget and to remember our sacrifices as you crunch your numbers for your budget. That's what I'm asking. Remember the sacrifice that we make when you are just looking at numbers. I believe that if you do that, the school board budget will be a higher priority on your list. We know you have to have revenue. Maybe we will become a larger sharer of the revenue. I don't know how you do it. That's you all's job. Just remember what we sacrifice every day, because even though we don't show up on your ledgers and balance sheets, we show up in the schools every day. Thank you.
Vivian Hester and Danielle Roby.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander and members of the City Council of Norfolk. I'm Vivian Hester. I'm here as a citizen and a member of the Concerned Citizens of Booker T. Washington High School. I have come to thank you for hearing our plight last year and helping us, but there's still work to be done. We're asking that you continue to fully fund the school board for the City of Norfolk, because we believe in the city, we believe in the students, we believe in the mission. We know that our children have needs, we want them met. We want our children to have the very best in technology, in science, in math, and whatever career area they're interested in. We stand with our administrators, we stand with our teachers, we stand with our students. We want only the best for them, and we expect the support coming from the City Council. Thank you very much for your concern. As we go through this new year, you will see and hear from the concerned citizens again. Thank you.
Danielle Roby. All right.
Danielle Roby.
Yes, Roby? And Jamel, please come, and John Williams, if you would get ready.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander, City Manager Smith, council members. My name is Danielle Roby. I live at 6345 Tuttle Avenue in Norfolk. I am in my 30th year with Norfolk Public Schools, having been a Teacher of the Year for the city and a statewide Administrator of the Year. I believe I've been a pretty exemplary employee. I love my job. I see many of you at many of the events that we support through the arts, through the music department of Norfolk Public Schools. My request tonight is that you consider fully funding the school board request. I was very involved in the budget development process. It was very detailed and very rigorous. The ask is very conservative in light of the equipment needing replacement and our facilities needing upgrades, not just upgrades, but repairs, just basic maintenance that has been deferred over many, many years, has caused the condition of some of our buildings. It's most unfortunate. The $6.2 million is a Band-Aid, and we pretty much need a tourniquet at this point to be able to stop the bleeding out. I get many requests for recommendations for staff, exemplary staff members who have applied to other districts. And I know the passion that they put into their teaching, the quality of their teaching, and I really, really want to hang on to them. I'm also here tonight to talk about teaching talent, how we support through the arts, and these are music teachers, but they're teachers. They're very highly skilled people. They have a unique skill set. They devote an inordinate amount of time outside of the teaching day to supporting students throughout the city. We had many music teachers who wanted to be here tonight. They couldn't make it because they were waiting on parents to pick up students from all city, rehearsal to make sure that kids are safe, and then riding buses back to schools and waiting to make sure that every child's picked up. People in the room care. They care. Social and emotional well-being. I know that you've heard a lot from guidance counselors. I fully support that. The people who support our gifted learners, but I'm here to also talk about our talented kids. Some of the kids that we see are students in Young Terrace, in Tidewater Park, those neighborhoods that surround Booker T. Washington High School. I worked really closely with the Virginia Arts Festival. We've co-written a lot of grants to provide extras for those students in those communities, things like steel drum, after-school programs, tutoring. We do so much, and we get so much back out of that. I want that to be able to continue. But our teaching staff, frankly, we're pretty stretched thin. We have some schools, again, in that quadrant, Tidewater Gardens, their elementary school, St. Helena Elementary School on the south side. They don't have a homeschool music teacher anymore. Those are cuts that had to be made. They have 4 and 5 different people coming in doing a little piece of the week, and the kids, frankly, deserve better. So I'm asking, my ask for the board was 2 elementary music teachers. We lost 5 positions last year. I just need 2 to be able to serve those schools. So I'd appreciate you fully funding, and please consider also the social and emotional well-being of not only the kids, but our staff members. You got, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. We got to take care of these people that come in and do the work every day. It is a labor of love, but again, we have to value and appreciate those people who do this day to day. I thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is John Williams, a building supervisor for Norfolk Public School, a 31-year resident of Norfolk, a father of 10, a grandfather of 27, which many of them have been or is being educated in Norfolk Public School. This evening, I come to you asking that my superintendent, Dr. Melinda Boone, and Norfolk Public School Board budget be fully supported in their quest to assure our children receive the best education that we can give them, and our educators and workers be kept in place by bringing up our pay to the national level. We are so far behind in pay and cost of living that the flight of our best educators to other school systems is growing at an alarming rate. Mr. Mayor and Council, many of you have ran your campaign on the platform of education. I remember your promises of providing a top-notch education for our children as your #1 concern. I'm here today to tell you that your words is being watched according to your actions on making sure Norfolk Public School budget is passed. Be mindful that we, the people of Norfolk, voted each of you in office based upon your word. We will be voting and remembering your truths from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. If standing with us, walking with us, and leading us into a better tomorrow. When I go on the internet and see the best cities, I want to see Norfolk. When I go on the internet and see the 20 cities that provide a great education pay, I want to see Norfolk, don't you? I don't mind my taxes going up if it's for education, not for city vehicles, unnecessary light rail studies, or more hotels. We need recreation centers for these children that's out in the street getting in trouble. Virginia Beach got recreation centers for the children. Costs, I think, $75. Norfolk don't have nothing for the children. We had a Croc Center that was built on false promises, and they can't even afford to go in, even with a school discount. I can't afford to go in and have a membership. My kids can't afford to go in there. So we need to have something for the kids to do to stay out of trouble. If you're going to build something instead of hotel, build recreation centers. Y'all close the boys' club down. Build something for the kids to be able to go and learn. And I pray that God will put on your hearts to do the right thing. And in closing, I want to thank my superintendent of the Norfolk School Board for such a great job they do, because they've been providing. This is the best school board and superintendent I've seen in my 18 years of working for Norfolk. So I hope you support Dr. Boone, and I pray that you really consider passing the budget. Sign me, a serious voter.
Thank you. It's Jamia McLeese. All right. Followed by April Harrington.
Hello, my name is Jamaya McLeese. I am a fourth grader. I am representing J. Cox Elementary School, and I am an honor roll student. David Gilbert J. Cox. J. Cox opened in 1949. Our school is 68 years old. J. Cox was the first school in Norfolk to open up to Black children. Mr. J. Cox was not afraid of anybody, and I'm not afraid to come before you to say we are in need of a new J. Cox. We are proud of our school, but it's time for us to get a new school, just like everyone else that has a new and updated school and is rated below average in school quality and compared to other schools in the state. My mother went to J. Cox, and she is 25 years old now. People be talking about our school saying we got bed bugs and people are slow and dirty. Sometimes people be saying it's true. I know if we had in the school, a lot of kids would feel better. We love our school, So please consider giving us a new Jaycox. Thank you.
Hello, my name is April Harrington, and I am speaking on behalf of the Independence Center in Norfolk. My mailing address is 10117 Norfolk, Virginia, 23513. It's a P.O. box. I would just like to thank you for your past support, and please request for future support of the Independence Center. It's been such a major factor in the lives of people with disabilities in Norfolk and pretty much all the cities of Hampton Roads. It allows us the ability to advocate for ourselves, and also socially. I've met a lot of lifelong friends at the Independence Center because as a person with a disability, you know, it's hard emotionally and mentally to live in the quote-unquote normal world and meet people that are not like you because you're subjected to judgment and prejudices from people because you're not like them or you don't look like them. So when people with disabilities go into the Independence Center, it gives us hope because people with disabilities like us are working like we want to work in the community, and people with disabilities are giving us the freedom to advocate for ourselves and helping us find affordable housing. They're helping us to go into the community as a group and have fun and do things that other people do and other people probably don't think that we can do. The Independence Center has helped me myself find employment, has helped me advocate for myself in situations that have been very detrimental to my financial situation, living situation, and even matters of discrimination in the workforce. So if you could please just keep us in mind and continue supporting us, the Independence Center. Thank you.
Sheriff Joe Barron, followed by Tion Powell. Welcome, Sheriff.
Norfolk Sheriff.
Norfolk Sheriff.
Norfolk Sheriff, yes, thank you. All right, I got some notes here. First, I just wanted to say that I fully support the Norfolk City Council. You guys are doing a tremendous job, and I know each and every one of you personally, and I know that you have the interest of the city of Norfolk always in your heart. And Doug, I appreciate the job you're doing. My name is Joe Barron. I'm the sheriff for the city of Norfolk, and I live at 7661 Manassas Court in Ward 5. I want to thank the council for being here to listen to everyone's concerns and input. I applaud the city manager and his staff for a budget which addresses the needs of our city, which have long been ignored or put off for another day or another generation to deal with. I stand here in full support of the tax increase, and I would like to tell you why. Debt, first of all, we have debts that are way past due in the city of Norfolk, and it is affecting everything else we want to take care of. That includes taking care of our employees, that includes taking care of our schools and everything else. MacArthur Mall Garage, for one example, is 20 years old and should have been paid off by now, yet we still owe $47 million on it. There are many examples like this throughout the city, and I support tax increases to address this debt so that my grandson, who lives in the city of Norfolk, won't have to worry about it 20 years more down the road. Infrastructure. We have buildings and equipment that are falling apart across the city and are long past their useful life. One building example is the garage that's next door to my office building that is falling apart and had to be closed because concrete was falling off and crushing vehicles inside. Because of our debt, the city cannot afford to replace that garage with a new one. And that was a garage that serviced the needs of the city employees. Further, there is no money to tear the building down to begin with, to start fresh. Equipment, for example, the Norfolk Sheriff's Office has over $200,000 worth of vehicles that need to be replaced. And that's not just us, it's across the city. One gentleman said, rather not replace city vehicles, but city vehicles are what gets us around so we can do our jobs. City vehicles for the Norfolk Sheriff's Office are used to transport inmates all across the state. They're also used to help people who are in mental health crisis get transported to facilities all the way on the other side of the state to get services. The Norfolk Sheriff's Office does that. I support a tax increase to pay for fixing our facilities and equipping our departments with the tools and equipment necessary to get the job done. Investing in our team. All city departments perpetually see our human resources depleted and siphoned off. I hope you'll give me more time. Siphoned off by surrounding localities which pay better. Over half of my staff have less than 5 years' experience now. We have lost over 260 employees over the last 3 years. They don't have to move to find a better paying job. All they got to do is change employment. They can make $8,000 to $10,000 more a year working for the city of Chesapeake or the city of Virginia Beach. And very quickly, we train people here to go someplace else. That's with the schools, and that's with us. Investing in our schools, one of Norfolk's greatest challenges are our schools, and they affect growth in our city more than anything else. I support a tax increase to pay for the investment in our future. I support the full tax increase of 10 cents. I would support more if you offered it. The city of Norfolk has long had a history of waiting until the wheels fall off before we do anything about a problem. This happened at the jail, and I won't go into it because my time's up. But we can't afford to wait any longer. Please vote for creating the revenue needed to get the job done. And in the end, I fully support you, Doug. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tion Powell, and I am a fourth grader at Jaycox Elementary. We need your help to make my school a better place. Norfolk Public Schools is failing our students. They aren't giving us what we need to be successful. We need more counselors to help with behavior. This is the #1 reason teachers have trouble teaching. We cannot learn. We want to learn. We need to learn. Please hear our words. Thank you from Jaycox SEA. Please think of us when you approve the budget.
Joshua Stone and Amona Whitley.
He was a little shorter than I was. Good evening, members of the council. My name is Joshua Stone, as many of you know. My wife is one of our Civic League members at Northside, so you know her as well. I reside at 8718 Tidewater Drive in Norfolk. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you again today. I come to you again this year as a resident, parent, professional educator in the city of Norfolk, and as you know, me and my wife are both very involved. I mention her because she actually helps me always write these things. She kind of keeps me doing my job and supports me as a teacher, which we all need. Once again, as you consider the city manager's budget proposal, I am compelled to ask that you consider, again, the platform and speech, which I believe all of you ran with, saying that the schools are a priority in Norfolk. Personally, I know and understand you have no control over how the funds you appropriate to the schools are then appropriated by the school board. I certainly understand and sympathize with your frustration and the lack of transparency in this regard. However, I ask that you look at the people most affected by this budget. Foremost, our students, our future leaders. Without appropriate funding from the city, they will not thrive. While the city receives state and federal funds, those monies are earmarked for specific purposes and course subjects. We mentioned that last year. I've heard some discussion already about the brochure, and I wish there was a way to make it more transparent that it is just not correct. When the city budget is insufficient, then cuts must be made, and it's the programs that make Norfolk Public Schools great that are cut first: music, art, gifted programs, and technology. This means the instruments played in my class go to disrepair. Materials in art classes run out. Computers become obsolete. How can we be expected to train and empower tomorrow's leaders with yesterday's tools or no tools at all? There will be no more resources for our students to express themselves through music and art. And when the city and community asks us to give up our time to bring our students, our young musicians and artists to an event, the answer will unfortunately be no. Secondly, please remember the teachers. Great teachers will always do their best to ensure every student's success, not just during school, but after, on weekends, and yes, and even in the summer. Great teachers don't stop work as soon as the contracted hours are over. And yes, we have great teachers in Norfolk, because if you aren't a great teacher, you won't make it here. Unfortunately, it is also true that if you are a great teacher, you won't last long here either. One of my former high school teachers, and who is now one of my colleagues, his wife worked in Norfolk Public Schools and left at the end of last year to work in Chesapeake. She now makes over $7,000 a year more to do the same job. NPS began a process to address the pay gap suffered by our teachers, and the city needs to ensure that NPS continues to receive the funds necessary to finish what they began to address last year. In reviewing the city manager's budget, I understand that you are considering a pretty significant real estate tax increase. While I, again, as well, completely understand and support the justification, I ask that you keep the schools, our students, our teachers in mind when appropriating those funds. Our students need it, our programs need it, and since a hike in real estate tax will hit the wallets of the already strained teachers who choose to live in Norfolk and work in Norfolk, our teachers will need it. Please do all that is necessary to completely fund our schools and show that NPS is a real priority for the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amani Whitley, and I am a honor roll third grade student at J. Cox Elementary School. I am here to express all the things that I think our school needs. We really need a new school. Our school is getting really old. I see how other schools are getting rebuilt and our school is still the same. We have leaking ceilings. This is ruining books and papers in our classrooms. The bathrooms are another problem. We need new ceilings and sinks. Last, the toilets in the bathroom needs to be replaced. We deserve better than what we are getting. Can you help us? Will you help us? Please give it a try for us. Thank you.
Roy Martin and Luann Prof. You're okay? Roy Martin, come on down. And Luann, followed by Luann.
Good evening.
Hey, Roy.
Council, City Manager, my name is Roy Martin. I reside at 1043 Algonquin Road. I'm here in capacity of the Chairman of the Board of Trustees for the Norfolk Public Library. It's customary usually on these things that I give you some statistics, and I think you might have an at-a-glance card in your packets that has little statistics such as how many card holders we have, how many visitors to the library, things of that nature. So I'll just rattle off a couple of them, but then I want to get into something that's even more important than these stats, because these stats don't mean anything in the context of value. So if we look at the visits to the library, we had nearly 1.2 million visitors. We have 113,477 active borrowers, and we added 15,983 new cardholders this past year. We circulated over 802,000 items. Our collection is one of the most robust in the region, with 667,000 items. But most importantly, we're getting in the community with over 3,800 programs. We're shifting our focus from just books and jewel box libraries where you go in, you have a nice little seance or maybe a little research depending on your objective, to actually community engagement spaces. Those where we can get into the community, talk amongst one another, and spread that out into the community. So this past year, we looked to partner with the ODU Strom College of Business to make sure that we can understand what the true value of libraries is. I'm an investment guy. If I put $1 in, I need to understand what I'm getting out of that. And I understand that's kind of the viewpoint you have to take with the taxpayers' dollars. So looking at that, the study showed two things: direct and indirect benefits of the library. They're tangible and intangible. So for every dollar that we put in, what are we getting out of that? Direct benefits, being the wonderful Horace C. Downing renovation out in the Berkeley neighborhood. After a year and a half hiatus, we were back online for that wonderful community. We had the Broad Creek Library coming online here in June, also in tying in with the Broad Creek Elementary, another highlight in that community. These are areas where you're putting bricks and mortar there with direct benefits, with new circulated items. More than 667,000 items, you're looking at in addition to that. The indirect is the programs. You're getting your folks that are coming in there, taking advantage of computer courses, job training courses, or even just a little bit of playtime with their toddler. More importantly, after school programs to bridge the gap between school and the home place, to make sure that kids have a safe place to go. These are the indirect benefits of the library. Then you have the intangibles. What do those people do with that knowledge that they've gotten from the library when they get out into the community? Do they start a business? Do they get a job? Where is that money going? It's going into our tax base, hopefully. Or maybe it's attracting other visitors in the form of those programs, such as the Slover Library, or even at Larchmont, Pretlow, and also Horace C. Downing. For every dollar you're putting into the Norfolk Public Libraries, this study is saying that you're getting a $4.72 return on that. And as an investment guy, I couldn't deliver on that. That's an amazing return for $1. So I thank you for all of your support through the years. I think your heart and obviously your actions are in the right place. And I hope you can continue to do that. And thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander and City Council. My name is Luann Four, and I reside at 737 Emerald Lake Drive in Virginia Beach. But I have been with Norfolk Public Schools for 12 years, and I teach second grade very proudly at Jaycox Elementary. What I have to say, I am sure you have all heard before, but I truly hope you hear us tonight. There are an awful lot of us who work long hours and very hard, by choice, of course, to make sure that our students get the very best that they deserve. I realize, as with any profession, that there are always a few bad apples, but I'm asking you to please do not let those bad apples be a reflection on the rest of us who put in their sweat and blood every day to give their children the best. But that being said, please don't take from us because of those who have forgotten why they went into teaching. There has to be a way to reward those of us who put our hearts and souls into our jobs every single day because of our love for our children. I knew as a child that I wanted to be a teacher. My grandfather even built me my own desk when I was about 7, 8 years old so I could play teacher. I knew I wanted to be a teacher because my teachers that I had taught every day with a genuine love that I carry into my classroom every single day when I walk in that room. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I have fought like many others to get where I am today, and I refuse to give up on these children. One thing that I learned as a child that was taught to me by my parents is that City Council is here for us, the people. And I hope you haven't forgotten that. And please don't take offense at that. I hope we can remember why we are all here, for the best interest of our children. With the help of you, our children can get the best education and help them soar to such great heights. They are so deserving of that opportunity. I invite you, any of you, to come to my classroom, spend a day, an hour, 30 minutes, and see just what wonderful children we truly do have. And these guys, these children are thirsting for knowledge. They beg, what else can we do? They thirst for knowledge. And it just thrills me to see that in their eyes. And when they finally grasp something, they light up like a Christmas tree. And that is so much more rewarding than anything else I can think of. You see, us together, we can accomplish so much more rather than being divided. Therefore, I urge you to please find a way and consider helping those of us that truly do love our job. Thank you for listening.
Lakeisha Owens, followed by Bobby Fields.
Good afternoon, Mayor Alexander and City Council. My name is Lakeisha Owens, and I reside at 212 Waller Boulevard in Virginia Beach. I am a third grade teacher at Jaycox Elementary School. I'm in my 6th year teaching at Jaycox, my 3rd year heading our program for our student leadership, the SCA program there. I love my school. I love the scholars of Jaycox Elementary. I, however, am very concerned with the lack of resources our school is receiving. Our students are not receiving the quality education they deserve. Our school is filled with so many long-term substitutes. As a priority school, I'm confused as to why our school and our students aren't even being taught by highly qualified teachers. We are the schools that need to pull in these highly qualified teachers we so desperately need for our students. We need the money to keep the highly qualified teachers like myself that put in our blood, our sweat, our tears, everything we have each and every day at Jaycox for our scholars. Our school is also spread thin with our paras, our SPED teachers. For a school with such a large population of special education students, we aren't even getting the needed staff to provide the exceptional instruction to these students. Jaycox scholars are struggling academically, socially, emotionally, and they are the future of this city, and that scares me. They should be a priority, and I don't feel that they are. Knowing what I know and seeing what I see each and every day, they're being cheated. Jaycox Elementary needs more help. Norfolk Public Schools needs more help. Please don't do less for us. We need more. I'm here to speak up for what my babies need. I'm here to fight for what my babies need and what they deserve. I only ask you, will you help us? Thank you on behalf of Jaycox Elementary School SCA.
I'm Bobby Fields. I reside at 6465 Powderhorn Drive. Good evening, Mayor Alexander and the City Council. I appreciate this moment to speak. Norfolk, I was born in Norfolk. I've lived in Norfolk my whole life. I think this is the most beautiful city. We have the airport, we have the beaches, we have the waterfront, but most importantly, we have our children. And I am a dually certified teacher. I can teach regular ed and special ed, pre-K through 8th grade. I've taught pre-K, K1, 2, 3, 3rd grades, and I've seen it all. I've actually been in a shooting, an active shooting incident before. between two shooters outside of Sherwood Forest Elementary. And then as I went to my dream school of Tarleton Elementary, my dear principal had buckets all out, collecting the water from the pipes. It's fixed now, but there's a lot of need. And I just want to speak on the behalf of the cuts with well, let me just tell you, our music teacher, she does strings and she teaches music and doesn't get paid any extra for that, and she's great. Our school counselor, we're, I believe, 75% military. I remember one year in pre-K, one of my students thought his dad had died because he'd been out to sea so long. So you can see the need for school counselors. And my son attends this school right here, Granby High School. And after one of the shootings, and there were the threats of a shooting here, he didn't even want to come to school. I had to call the counselor myself. But there's just a lack of resources, and people are our number one resource. I have friends at my own school now. One can't hardly afford her house payment. She's always had a partner to help her. I have another person at my school that has 2 little children and a wife, and he's working 3 jobs. So sometimes I feel like we're caught between community service workers where we don't get free meals everywhere, but we also don't get paid for being college-educated people. So I thank you so much for your service. I really, really do. And I thank you for listening to me. And I want to put a word in for the libraries too, because if I am a single parent because my children's father passed away, and if it wasn't for the public library, my daughter wouldn't have had anywhere to go to before I could pick her up after I got off work. And the number one reason I am here is because I love my job, but more importantly, I love my students.
Nancy Estipa and Tesla Jordan.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Estepa, and I've spoken many times as the math specialist at P.B. Young Elementary School. What you don't know about me is that I was a graduate of Norview High School right here in Norfolk, where my academic work helped me earn a scholarship to attend Old Dominion University. While attending ODU, I completed real estate school to get my real estate license so that I could pay for my master's. So I sold houses to pay for college. I'm telling you this because I've spoken many times as an educator, and I do not feel like I am being heard. It seems as if you all are interested in getting tax money for the city, which I agree is necessary, but you do not think that investing in our schools is a way to do that. Maybe because schools are not for-profit institutions. I would like to explain why you are wrong. Norfolk is not a tourist destination. No matter how much you want it to be, no matter how much you try to transform it, the people who spend money in Norfolk are the residents of the city of Norfolk. Before you think about trying to get people from other cities to spend money in Norfolk with your outlets, updated waterside, and all those projects that are more important to you than our kids, you need to do what you can do to get citizens of Norfolk to spend money in Norfolk. When I sold houses, I began by asking buyers, what are you looking for in a home? Most of the time, it boiled down to 3 things: number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, and schools. Now, we can't change how many bedrooms and bathrooms the homes in Norfolk have, but what we can change and what we must change are the schools. If we want more tax revenue for Norfolk, we need to get people to want to live here, to buy homes here. To do this, we need to fix our schools. How many of you would be comfortable sending your child to Norfolk Public Schools? Although I have great faith in the teachers at my school has many classrooms without teachers. No matter how much you pay a long-term sub, they are not a teacher. These classrooms without teachers are taking a toll on our students. The substitutes do not understand classroom management, child development, proper teaching pedagogy, or curriculum and instruction.
No matter how hard they work, they are not teachers. Our students deserve teachers. Here's how investments work. You put the money into schools. You pay us enough so that we can provide teachers for our students, counselors for our students, mental health services where needed, in-school suspension for students who need consequences, and enough money to keep teachers who have put years into Norfolk here in Norfolk. We are used to struggling. We are used to making it work. We keep trying to speak up for our kids, yet every year have to make do with less and less. The situation going on in Norfolk this year is unacceptable. Letting these kids go to school with no teachers and calling what they receive in education is negligent. We are sick and we are tired of fighting for our babies. Obviously, talking is not working. Please know that we are done making it work. Now is your turn to make it work. It's your ethical responsibility to work out and approve a budget that will fully fund our schools. If you, as City Council, can't find a way to move money around and do right by these kids, please know that we will not be talking anymore. We are organizing, and we will take action to get our students the education they need and deserve. NPS cannot wait.
Good evening. My name is Tisha Jordan. I reside at 7416 Gardner Drive in Larry Moore Lawns community. I am a proud Norfolk Public School parent of a student at Larry Moore Elementary. I'm also a member of Lake Whitehurst West Civic League. I am also the PTA president at Larry Moore Elementary School. I believe I have some parents or teachers. If you're here tonight, please stand representing Larry Moore Elementary PTA. All right, Larry Moore Elementary, home of the Lions, where we roar, we read often, and rise. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of Larry Moore Elementary PTA. Larry Moore Elementary is over 60 years old. We have major roof issues. We have damage inside and outside of our school, water leaking into our building. We have mold and mildew that is visible on the walls and damaged ceiling tiles. We have cockroaches and rodents that have invaded our building. We need a new school. We need for our schools to be safe. We need funding to reward, attract, and retain high-quality teachers. We have too many long-term subs in our classroom. We have our gifted reading and math teachers part-time at our school. They are so valuable to our success of our school. We need them full-time in the building to support our students who may not be at grade level and need the extra support. While no one likes to pay more taxes, we do believe our children, staff, and school is worthy of this investment. Please vote in favor to fully fund the Norfolk Public Schools budget. Thank you.
V. Howell and Peter Decker III. Already, Ms. Howell is right there. Go ahead, Ms. Howell.
Good evening. I am V.L. Howell, and I reside at 1300 Marshall Avenue. That's Jacobs Elementary. But I pay mortgage at 733 Forbes Street, Norfolk, Virginia. Today I did a small survey of teachers on my campus, just curious as to how many are working a second job. One teacher is even working 2 part-time jobs. This is done in order to survive. The economy is, well, that's another meeting. But if you speak of Uber, Lyft, Lane Bryant, J.C. Penney's, Macy's, These are where the teachers are spending their weekends and evenings. Teaching is a 2 or 3 jobs in itself, consuming our days, evenings, nights, slumber, and our dreams. How many teachers here began planning your lessons in your sleep? Now, we are not just in it for the pay. We're in it for the reward. We're not just existing during those hours. We go hard, and we are functioning as planners, as a greeter, a consoler. We mediate. We love on and hug on our students. All of this before the instructional day begins. We document and record. We create atmospheres conducive to learning. We prepare in order to maximize time. We instruct to those willing to learn and insist to those who are not ready to learn. We remediate to those trying to learn but don't quite get the concept yet. In the midst of all that, we analyze learning. We collaborate with parents, co-workers, and administration. Are you guys tired yet? Because we haven't even gotten to noon yet. We've done all of this. We contact parents, we observe, we provide, we feed, we clothe. And if you are at a full-blown Title I school, as I am, we social work. We visit homes. We make wake-up calls. We call and remind parents that, yes, we do have school today. We provide for those in need. And heaven forbid if you work a solid school like us, where we feed not only knowledge, but natural food. We protect, we self-defend against aggressive students. We write lesson plans. We rewrite lesson plans. We carry the load of less experienced long-term subs. We must carry the load because we care about the children, and it makes no sense to me that a high school or a GED holder can come into the classroom and be expected to do our job. If you doubt that we need additional help, if you doubt that we need full funding, come visit us. Come walk the halls, visit our classrooms, call any teacher on the weekend and see if he or she is not doing schoolwork or at their second job. Whitney Houston soulfully sang, "I believe the children are our future. Teach them well." We need qualified, highly qualified teachers in order to do this. And what it's going to take is full funding. Pop quiz, how do you spell what we need? F-U-L-L. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pete Decker, 109 East Main Street in the great city of Norfolk, Virginia. Good evening, honorable and distinguished members of council. I have the privilege of serving on the Norfolk Library Foundation Board. Our esteemed chairman, Tom Jones, was unable to attend tonight. He asked me to come here and remind you of something that makes Norfolk great, and that's the bookmobile. For over 60 years, I've given you the handout that has all the bragging points. We just want to thank you for your past support of the bookmobile, and thank you for keeping us rolling going into the future. And I think you're all doing a great job, and I think all these teachers are great too. Thank you.
Rick Jones and Ed Lazarin.
Hi. My name's Rick Jones. I live at 450 West Princess Anne Road. I'm a former IT manager and data analytics guy. And I thought I was going to come down here tonight and talk a little bit about that, but I think I'm going to stay on topic and talk a little bit about education and just tell you that I'm somewhere along the line, I picked up the idea that two of the measures of the health of a society are how it treats its nurses and how it treats its teachers. I am absolutely appalled to sit here and listen to so many teachers and administrators and students get up here and practically grovel for what should be obvious. I mean, this is where the kids spend their days. This is what kind of society do we have where they have to come here at night and grovel like this? It's crazy. And that's really, everybody's hit all the topics. People, when they live here, they want good schools. This is our future. I'm not going to rehash that. I fully support the tax hike. And I don't even have kids. I fully support it to go to the schools. And I just want to say a little bit about that tax hike. If I'm 66, and if you're anywhere near my age, you've grown up for the past 38 years, where raising taxes has been sort of the third rail of politics, and especially since the turn of the century. I would ask you to just take a look around America, what's going on today. Things are changing. The teacher strikes in West Virginia, the strikes in Oklahoma, but look at the state of Kansas, where Republican legislators tossed out Sam Brownback's austerity program. America has come to realize austerity isn't working. Okay? Raise the taxes, explain why you're doing it, explain how it's going to be used, and come through on it. But I think we're all done with thinking we can live on promises, and that's all. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Edward Lazaron. I live at 1045 Cambridge Crescent, and I'm here tonight representing the Friends of the Norfolk Public Library. We're a nonprofit organization that's been providing support in the volunteers and funds for the Norfolk Public Library for over 65 years. We understand it's a challenging budget time, and we want to thank you for your funding of the library, past and present. Your commitment provides the operating funds, the staff, the wide array of resources for our communities that we need. And we're excited about our astounding reopening this morning. Broad Creek is coming online in June. Our resources are growing in the communities that need libraries. Providing comprehensive library services is one of the best investments our city can make in its economy and its citizens. Our public libraries contribute to the personal development, education, job training, entertainment, well-being, and community engagement throughout the city. Your financial support means that funds raised by the Friends will provide additional programming and resources for everyone in the city. Some examples. Summer Reading Program is a massive undertaking, a series of programs that support the public library's mission to help students of all ages bridge the summer reading gap while promoting literacy and lifelong learning. The Friends donations enhance those summer reading programs by providing speakers, performers, and prizes at every one of our libraries. This year's theme is Reading Takes You Everywhere, with a goal to get kids, teens, and adults exploring our community through activities and reading at the library. This year, the Friends initiated our Little Free Libraries project to get neighbors sharing books and hopefully developing more readers and more library users throughout the city of Norfolk. Collaborating with Neighborhood Development Office, General Services Department, Norfolk Collegiate School, Colley Avenue Printing, our volunteers placed 20 free book exchanges throughout the city of Norfolk. The project's been so successful that we're looking for additional community support and volunteer stewards to create more of these locations. We provide a variety of stimulating author talks at libraries throughout the city all year long, and upcoming is our annual book review contest. The contest encourages reading, writing, critical thinking, and most of all, library use. Students across the city have recently submitted almost 1,700 reviews for consideration. The awards ceremony is at 3 p.m. May 17th at the Slover Library. We invite you all to attend. The Friends are committed to support Norfolk Public Library because we understand how important libraries are to the economy and the well-being of the city. We say thanks again and trust that you will continue to find funds to keep the Norfolk Public Library at the forefront of community conversation and engagement for years to come. Thank you.
Christy Everett and Philip Hawkins.
Good evening. Christy Everett, 7469 Glen Eagles Road, Norfolk, here on behalf of Chesapeake Bay Foundation. The role of Chesapeake Bay Foundation is to work with partners such as the City of Norfolk to protect and restore our waterways. Obviously a great resource to City of Norfolk and our larger Hampton Roads community, not limited to, but including of great economic value for our region as well. I'm here to speak tonight on proposed 1-cent increase to the real estate tax for resiliency efforts. I don't need to tell you the challenge of recurrent flooding is to our community. Fortunately, Norfolk has a very innovative approach to address this, including the Retain the Rain initiative, another nature-based approach, which programs that can address flooding, also improve our neighborhood, reconnect impoverished areas within our city, improve recreational amenities, increase economic opportunity, as well as protect our waterways all at the same time. We applaud Norfolk for this proactive effort and approach and support the proposed increase in this budget to support this work. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander, Vice Mayor Whibley, members of the Norfolk City Council, and City Manager Smith. My name is Philip Hawkins Jr., and I am the president of the Education Association of Norfolk, the local affiliate of the Virginia Education Association and the National Education Association. I represent school employees of Norfolk Public Schools who are a part of our association, but I also stand in support with all of our colleagues and families who represent Norfolk Public Schools tonight. I am a proud pre-K teacher at the P.B. Young Senior Elementary School here in Norfolk, and I am a lifelong resident of the city. Tonight, I am here to speak at this final public hearing regarding this budget to ask that while we do stand in support of fully funding the school board's proposed budget, I am still very concerned that the critical areas of our schools are still not, the needs of our schools are not being met, and it's hindering their overall success. I, along with many other colleagues, students, parents, and fellow community members, feel that the needs of our children and staff who serve them in Norfolk have not been a true priority of this city. The EAN supports more funding to add school resource officers to improve safety protocols, measures, and resources for every school in the district. Safe and secure environments must be our top priority in all of our schools. All of our schools cannot succeed without equipping all of them with the fully funded capital and operating budget to access the tools and resources that are essential to getting the job done. The EAN is committed to accomplishing this by advocating for our students, our education professionals, and support staff. And community members are here advocating tonight, as we see. Please support our students now. Next year may be too late for us. I am sure you've been looking over the numbers and figures in this budget, and you keep trying to figure out how can we get this done. So we now are at a 10-cent increase with our real estate tax, 5 cents being earmarked for Norfolk Public Schools. But I am still concerned that maybe that 5 cents is still not enough when we think about the many needs in our schools tonight. It may work if we know that the allocation of that 5 cents will go to help support salaries for our staff, where we see that we are falling further and further behind. Many of our staff here in Norfolk, they have chosen to leave Norfolk to go to Chesapeake and Virginia Beach and the other localities in the Northern Virginia area for work. So I am requesting adequate funding of at least $1,000 per teacher in those hard-to-staff schools we've heard about tonight, and $500 for those paraprofessionals to work in those schools. We need additional resources for those schools, and those schools being P.B. Young, Tidewater Park Elementary, Ruffner Middle School, St. Helena Elementary School, Lake Taylor Middle School, J. Cox Elementary School, Lake Taylor High School, Booker T. Washington High School. And some of these schools still are not being fully funded when we look at everything that has to be done in those schools. We must get the staff support that we need to help our students. I'm going to close at this time, but we do support the budget for the increase, but we need to do more. Thank you for your service.
Carolyn Latham and Mark Dennison.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor and City Council. My name is Carolyn Latham. I live at 1819 Bracy Street in the city of Norfolk. I am also the Vice President of Old Huntersville Civic League. I am in support of the budget. At first I was not. I wasn't very happy. But I am in support of our teachers. J. Cott is in my district. And everything that the teachers and the children said is true because I volunteer there. And I'm also in support of the St. Paul redevelopment because I have a daughter and grandchildren that lives in Calvary Square. And I would love to make sure that that allocation for training and education and job training for those families be included in that budget. We have to be productive. We have to be responsible. You made promises to those families in Calvary, Tidewater, and Youngs. We must stick to our promises. We must take care of our teachers. We must take care of our city. And I listened tonight at everybody, and I felt their hearts. But we also got to take care of each other. We got to do the very best. And city manager, you have to do your best. Welcome to City of Norfolk. We don't like taxes. I'm just being honest with you, but we got to work together. Taxes are not good, but we need it to support our city. And I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your service. Let's do the best we can, but let's support our children, because our children are our future. But we have to support our teachers because they do a very good job. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mark Dennison. I'm at 621 West 37th Street in Park Place. Honorable Mr. Mayor, honorable madams and sirs of the City Council, I am the music program head for Tidewater Community College at the downtown Norfolk campus. We've heard from all the honored guests tonight about education. Let me just speak to the arts education specifically. A lot of people think arts education is extra, it's extracurricular. We see, they go to the, as Daniel Roby pointed out earlier, they go to the all-city choir, all-city jazz ensemble, all these little trips and everything. But one of the things that is not really understood about arts education is that, and this is kind of an insight maybe for some of you, or maybe not so much, but the one thing that arts does is it trains the students to not accept anything less than 100% accuracy. For my art, music, think about 99% accuracy. How satisfied would we be with a grade in a college course and a high school course, an elementary school course of 70%? C, yay, I got a C, woo, I passed. But 70% accuracy in music means that they've missed 30 out of every 100 notes. And that would mean the concert sucked. So 99% accuracy is still not even good enough. That means you've missed 1 out of every 100 notes. Last night at the downtown campus at the Roper Performing Arts Center, I had 2 students who are getting ready to graduate with their Associate of Fine Arts. The first Associate of Fine Arts students in the entire state. We pioneered the program. Yay. But they performed a recital last night where they probably, 2 students, they sang 7 pieces each. Very, very difficult pieces. They probably sang 10,000 notes altogether. 99% accuracy means that they missed 100 notes. That's not acceptable, not in a performance. See, the thing about it is the elementary school. I taught public schools for 10 years before I went to the college level. I taught kindergartners through 6th graders. I taught middle school and high school band and choir. The thing that arts education teaches these students is it teaches them to strive for something greater than themselves, and it teaches them to not accept just mediocrity. These band directors, these orchestra directors, the arts educators, the visual arts educators, the drama teachers, they're teaching their students, guiding by example to make sure that their students strive for better than mediocrity. And we need to fund those educational positions. It's not acceptable that we don't inspire our students. And our educators, the arts educators, they are part of that inspiration. I love the math teachers and the science teachers and literacy, oh my gosh. But arts education still needs to be that priority because that's where we are taking it up to that extra notch. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bob Batcher and Judith Orr.
Bob Batcher, 201 Granby Park, and it's a pleasure to be in front of all of you. I want to say thank you for the administration for a proposal to provide extra service and recognizing the importance of seniors by looking at Prime Plus as a creative, collaborative effort to improve and increase services for seniors. While saying that, and being a soon-to-be 65-year-old, I also want to recognize and thank you for being bold in a budget that calls for a 10-cent increase. It's a tough decision to make, but I think to also recognize that the value of those empty nesters. We recognize the value of schools, we recognize the value of property, and we don't cost you anything. So it's a great return on the investment, as you did with looking at investing in Prime Plus and in the seniors of Ocean View. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Judith Orr. I live at 1325 Hullview Avenue, which is in the Bayview/Ocean View area. I'm speaking about the decision that you made to allow the Ocean View Senior Center to remain in the Ocean View neighborhood. I'd like to thank you very much for that. Moving over to the East Ocean View Community Center is great for us. We're very happy. But it is really for temporary use. We do still need our own area that will not be shared with school children. We are concerned about the summer program. We don't know what's going to happen to us in the summer with the building filled with kids. I'm requesting that our center be placed on a CIP list so that in a few years we can have our own space. I believe a good solution could be an extension onto the East Ocean View building, since the city already owns that land. Now, some of the money that the city has made off the sale of our senior center, plus the revenue from the real estate taxes that would be coming in from the condos that will be built on that site, could be going towards that CIP or capital improvement program. And I hope that you will allow something like that for us so that we can eventually have our own space. Additionally, I'm requesting that the staff from the Ocean View Senior Center be transferred to the new location. I fear that many of our older seniors may be unwilling to accept new faces in leadership positions and therefore would not utilize this new facility as much as they do now at the center's present location. So I hope you would take that into consideration as well. Thank you again for listening to us. I know we made a fuss. And thank you for your willingness to make this change for us. Thank you.
Marva Austin and Mary King. Ms. King? Come on.
Good afternoon to the mayor and all the members. I was going to decline since Ms. Orr, but she wanted me to come anyway. Well, I just want to thank you all for transferring us over to East Ocean View Community Center. Like Ms. Orr said, we will have a problem during the summer when the kids are out of school. We won't be able to do the things that we do now at 600 East Ocean View. But I really appreciate it. We thank you. But we do need our own space because we are seniors. And I understand that the children, the schools, and everything is very important also. So the children and the seniors are the ones that really in need. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Marva Austin. Okay. Irma McClellan and Nina Martin. Come on, dear.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander and City Council. My name is Nina Martin. I reside at 1019 Modoc Avenue in Ocean View. I'm here on behalf of the Little Theater of Norfolk, where I serve as president. And I'm here to address the proposed 5% cut to the Norfolk Arts Commission. I know it's a very small amount. It means the world to us. We get a grant from the Norfolk Arts Commission every year for about $10,000. I know that sounds so small, but it really does help us out. Our organization in particular, we have no paid staff. Our board is not paid. Our actors are not paid. None of our crew is paid. We have recently had to replace our floor, our entire roof, and right when we were getting ready to replace our lighting system that is composed of units that were handed down from other professional venues, our air conditioning unit went out in our green room and had to be replaced to $15,000. We do very much with very little, and we're not actually asking for more. We just ask, please find a way to not take what we currently have. I would invite any of you, please come. Our next show will open before your budget decision. Come see what we do with how little we have, and see the talent we have in this area that we've encouraged. We hate to lose people, but we love to see where they go. They go to Richmond. They're on television. If you watch ID, every time I watch, I see someone I know that's performed in my community theater. It is a wonderful resource. We're reaching out to schools. We have children coming in that say they feel they found their people. They're not happy in their school, but they come in and they found this, and hopefully they can go back and then be happy in their school. And I have such respect for all the teachers here, and I know they need all of their funding, but I do ask if there's any way you can find to not take what we have, please do so. Thank you very much.
Peter Bustinelli and Anthony Edwards. Peter Bustinelli and Anthony Edwards.
Mayor Alexander's board and members of the council, thank you for this time to address you. I'm with the Civic League of Suburban Acres. I live at 7061 Kirby Crescent. I'm going to take a different approach to the funding. I think you understand our schools are pretty bad, and that case has been made. I'm coming to look at how you are responsible fiduciaries at taking the money that you receive from us citizens and then spend it. I've tried to understand the budget. I've tried to understand the way it's allocated, and I don't get it. I think there's things that are allocated that are inappropriate. Well, you know, I'm wondering why you are spending the money that way. 2007, 2008, the city proposed a large budget. Citizens got together, created Tea Party 2. I don't see the citizens here tonight in the same manner because I'm not sure they understand the budget quite yet, nor do they understand the burden that they're going to be paying. Do you really feel comfortable with the way that the money is going to be spent? Are you responsible, each one of you, to look at us and say, you're spending that money? I'd hate to come up against the school board, because if these folks cancel out on you, you're going to feel it. The city of Norfolk is going to be on the news for all the wrong reasons. Wrong reasons. So please look at your budget. I don't understand why there's a $3 deduction in wastewater when you can accumulate more money there. Why do that? I don't understand the St. Paul's district project. I don't get it. You know, I understand that there's problems, and I make my living as an engineering architect. I look at things, I study money, and I have to make decisions too. But I'm wondering if you really are looking at the budget appropriately. I would throw it out. I would relook at how it's allocated. The second thing is in 2007, promises were made to the citizens of where the money was going to go. It didn't go there. Schools were one of those. 2007, 2008. None of you were probably on the board then, I don't think, but you were probably coming up to see what we were. So I'm really hoping that you take the time, cancel this budget, go back and look at a better allocation of the funds. Schools are the priority. I get hit pretty hard, but I'm willing to pay it if it goes to the right places.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Edwards, and I'm currently a city employee working at 911 Dispatching Center. The reason I'm here is for the new pay plan for 911 operators. We are the third busiest 911 center in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We handled almost 500,000 calls last year, and we answered them all. We are currently short-staffed, but we answer the call. We've had a step increase in the past 10 years, but we answer the call. Disasters, natural or man-made, we answer the call. The Norfolk citizens deserve the best we can give. 911 operators, tonight we ask that you do the same. And as I leave this place tonight, I'm headed back to answer the call, Team 911.
Peggy Scott and Johnny Wood. Hi, Peggy.
My name is Peggy Scott, and I am a lifelong resident of our great city of Norfolk. I appreciate the time and effort it takes to put together a budget and realize there are many needs in our city. I watched the budget presentation and understood that our past leaders made decisions based on what they thought the future would bring, and we fell little short of the monetary goals that could sustain the great ideas of some of the things we built that have not paid for themselves as hoped for. It is important to keep our bond rating at the highest level so that we can pay the least amount of interest when we borrow, and it is equally important that we pay down our debt. As a senior on a fixed income, I would ask that instead of a 10-cent tax increase, that we take smaller steps and have a 5-cent increase, since only 2.7 cents of that is going to be going to schools, which is our biggest need. This would allow for the most pressing things, which are the past due pay raises for our dedicated teachers, police officers, and firemen. These are things that cannot wait to be funded. We cannot afford a strike by our teachers or the embarrassment that has played out in several states that continue to underfund education. We need to be proactive in our efforts, and we need to make the best decisions on how and where to spend our tax dollars. Funding the St. Paul quadrant, which is great, it is needed, it can wait a while longer. Give the people that live there a fair chance at finding other housing. The plans will take several years, so that money doesn't have to come out of the budget this year. We know that the longer we wait to fund the necessary repairs in our schools, the more it will cost. So that is something that cannot wait, but we need to make sure we're getting the most for our money. No one ever wants to close schools, but reality has set in, and we need to tighten our belt and close a few schools instead of putting Band-Aids all over the buildings. We need to make more of an effort to sell empty city-owned buildings, such as the old Stewart School building, which is an eyesore. We need to put a nice restaurant on the property that the city is acquiring in Ocean View and put it back on the tax rolls and give the people on that side of the town a nice place to eat and watch the sunset on a prime beachfront location. 38% of our budget goes to schools, but the school board and the city council rarely sit down together to plan for the needs of our city. Great schools bring in tax dollars. It brings in people that want to make Norfolk their home. The interstate leaving downtown each day is filled with people that work here but live in either Virginia Beach or Chesapeake. We need them to come home to Norfolk. We want and need those tax dollars in our city. Look at what we have to offer here. As far as I'm concerned, except for our schools, we outpace those two cities in every category. I'm looking at our great leaders up here sitting in front of me, and I know that together you can work to come up with just a 5-cent increase and still be able to fully fund our schools and give the raises that our teachers and our public servants deserve. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Johnny Wood. I live at 9640 Hammett Parkway. I'm here to see tonight for you to reduce our taxes, just like the federal government did. It was done 10 years ago when it was 128 to 108. It can be done. It should be your priority. The homeowner shouldn't be in the equation. We should be at the bottom of the totem pole for revenue. It's 2018. It's time for the city manager, the mayor, the city councils to come up with creative ideas to generate new revenue for the cities instead of going after the homeowners. If you're going to tax us, tax everybody, not just the homeowners. It's not fair. You have deals for contractors, developers, nothing for the homeowners. Use some of that money towards the homeowners. Like the city manager said, the regional economic growth has not been slow, hindering Norfolk's ability to grow. Is that the taxpayers' fault, the homeowners' fault? That we're going to get taxed for this? My assessment went up. I'm going to get taxed again. I'm going to get taxed twice on one item. I just don't think that's fair. tax everybody, not just the homeowners. Thank you very much.
Adam Thorpe and Alice Goodyear.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander, City Council, City Manager, everybody here. I think it shows that we care. My name is Adam Tharp. I live at 7720 Argyle Avenue, and I am on the board of Lock Haven Civic League. I think we can take it for granted that we all agree the schools are the priority. And we'll talk about it for here in a second. But only one word describes this proposal, and that's failure. Failure in the sense that Norfolk has failed to improve the quality of life of its residents, whether you're renting or a property owner. Failure in the sense that if you improve this course of action, you will get a one-time bump. But what will happen to property prices? Simple economics say that if you put that tax on us, people don't have more mortgage money. The prices of the property will go down, and then it'll just be a deathward spiral. And it's simple, because this isn't an investment that produces a profit or a product. It's a taking that produces deflation. And more, it'll affect everybody. Whether you rent, you're a business owner, or you own a house, everything's going to go up. Right? Yet nothing more is being created. Instead, we send a message to potential residents that Norfolk charges more and provides less. When I say this, I think some context is required. Here's a couple data points. Our population is stagnant since 2012, yet our budget has increased by $160 million. Keep in mind the birth rate's 1.8% annual, so we're actually in a decline. In contrast, Virginia Beach has grown by 3%, Chesapeake by 8%. Many people I know would love to move to Norfolk. I love Norfolk. I think it's a great city. But they won't, because they don't want to pay for the schools or go to the public schools, and they want to have extra money in their pocket at the end of the month, like all of us do. Our school budget has grown from $370 million to $400 million during the same period. Yet our school population has decreased by 10%. Our per pupil is $14,500. That is more than tuition at ODU. That is the highest in Hampton Roads and one of the highest in the state of Virginia. And I'm listening to these teachers tonight, and what I hear is they care. They're here for their students. I'm hearing the students, they care. So someone answered to me where the $14,500 is going, because I know I go to Virginia Beach and get better. So we're letting them down, we're letting the students down, we got to figure that out. Not only are we racing with Portsmouth with a 61% accreditation rating, but we're also racing them to the property tax rate. They're currently at 130, we're proposing 125. Contrast, Virginia Beach is $1, Chesapeake $1.04. Tell me where the profit is. Are people going to move here because, what makes our property values go up? It's a demand because our quality of life is high. That's what we're looking for. It's up to you to make that happen. I've got some more to go here, but I think I've waited long enough.
Finish your
Yep.
thought, Mr.
We lose 88 cents per dollar for every dollar spent on the tide. That's $10 million a year, yet we can't shut it down because we owe $200 million in federal grants if we do. And now we're talking about extending it, and if we do, that's probably going to be another $100 million per year if they ever build it, which I hope they don't. We give tax breaks to build infrastructure and businesses, $500 million over the last 20 years in the name of investment. If we got 5% off of that, that would pay your $26 million shortfall, right? All those tax breaks. We lured ADP here, and they got 1,800 jobs. Where do they live? Probably fewer than 5% live in Norfolk. VIT, NIT, president, most of your staff live outside of Norfolk. We win the business and we lose every time.
Yep.
But it's not all lost.
Mr. Thorpe, if you could just
I'm getting to the good part.
come to a close, sir.
Short term, okay, so there are some ways to fix this. Short term, I agree with the gentleman before, we need to kill the proposal and go back to the drawing board. If you raise the tax rate, you're going to lower the property values and you're going to end up in a negative situation. There's just no winning on that. As much as you'd like to, it just doesn't work, and it's been proven time and again. Put value on each decision. What are they worth? Light rail, new business, they don't add value, they cost money, but what does add value? Property values add value. Make our life better. People will vote, and not necessarily at the ballot box, but they'll vote with their feet and they'll vote with their money. and they already have, and you've seen it. Long-term, aggressively fix the schools. You've got teachers to do it. Determine the value of the improved infrastructure. We're supposed to have buried cables, Wi-Fi across the city, whatever, do it. Determine the value of helping homeowners against rising waters.
Mr. Thorpe, your time is up, sir.
All right.
Thank you, man.
My name is Alice Goodman. I live at 300 Westover Avenue. And I feel as if I live on a different planet. I did have one bright thought while I was sitting there listening to these very dedicated teachers, students, and I felt very, very sad. But my bright thought was, take the children and teachers who live and work in these very bad schools. Put them in the main. I'm serious. There are rooms. Some of them are probably small enough for a large group of children or several groups of children. And the students and the teachers will not be afraid to go into the bathroom or walk down the hall, and they won't spend their time killing rodents and roaches. That's disgusting in a city like Norfolk. Norfolk should be ashamed of itself. Now, I was born and reared here. As a bride, I married a Navy man, and I have lived in several cities. And in 1995, I wanted to come back. California had had it for me. Didn't want to live in Texas, didn't want to live in Florida, it's all buggy. And I moved up here from North Carolina. I will never go back, but I'm tempted. And I have a small townhouse, very proud of my little front yard and my backyard, but I do not wish to pay another 10 cents per 100. Per 1,000, yeah. Per 100, no. If it would make a difference, if I knew that all of that extra money was going to the people who spoke here tonight, I would give up my TV dinners. I don't cook anymore. I have nobody to cook for. I have a 28-year-old Honda. Thank goodness. It's going along as well as I am. And I'm going to be 88. So I just want to say, raise the teachers' pay. Take care of the students. I have observed tonight the teachers, I don't choose to be critical. In their position, I probably, I don't think the seniors and the residents, even those who are well off, should be the only ones shouldering this 10 cents a 100. And by the way, congratulations to the tall, slender fellow whose assessment did not go up, because mine did. And I thank you very much for listening to me gripe.
Thank you. Charlotte Cooper Corey and Laura Naismith.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, et cetera, thank you for giving us this opportunity. I've changed my thoughts about some things. a little bit different than I was going to say. But I do want to say this. I was born and raised here. My parents were, the woman that just spoke is my sister. And I raised my children here. I've been a real estate payer for over 60 years. In May, I will turn 85. Thank God I'm on this side of the lawn. And I don't know how long I'll be here, but I feel like if I keep going along pretty good, I have a lot of long livers in my background, that I will probably have to pay another increase on my home. I've been in my home almost 46 years, and I want to stay there. I like my privacy, and I'm very happy there. And I have a lot of expenses, because you know what it is when you own a piece of property. I had to put all new windows in my house. I have a big fence job that has to be done, many other things. And so the raise in my taxes, it makes me stop and think. But after hearing, now, I was not oblivious to what's going on with the schools. I mean, I'm not oblivious, but being here and seeing these people, even the students, speak about their situation makes it that much more real. And if you all can look into your souls when you meet and you're going to maybe redo this budget, if you will see that the schools, the teachers, the students, where the help is needed, if they really get helped, I'll give you my 10 cents extra in real per 100, and I won't complain about it, because this has really torn me up. Thank you so much.
David Arment and Linda Noyers. All right, keep going. Pat Smith, Danny Lee Ginn. Pat Smith, Danny Lee Ginn. Following Danny Lee will be Richard Drumright. Danny, you up? Yes, sir.
My name is Danny Lee Ginn. I reside at 3844 Dare Circle. Some of you might remember me. I'm here tonight because of what has happened in the past. Let me tell you a quick story. The previous administration of the city, not Mr. Alexander's, came to the people of the city and they said our schools are in tatters and they are in very, very bad shape and we have to rebuild them. In order to do so, we want to bid 5 schools at one time with SB Ballard and save money. And what we want to do is we want to raise your taxes 2 cents per 100. Now, I don't have any children in school anymore, haven't had for years. But being a former teacher, I said, hey, this is a great cause, because this 2% was going to be categorized just for schools. So I didn't show up at Granby High School. Hell, I thought this was a great idea. But what happened is a lot of other people didn't show up. And this 2% was accepted. But what happened is that the previous administration went back and they went behind closed doors and they said, nobody complained about the 2%. Let's jack it up to 4%. We didn't ask for 4%, but well, let's go ahead and let's jack it up to 4%. So they did. They doubled what they asked us for. Now, that kind of ticked me off a little bit. I said, wait a minute. You didn't ask for 4%. I didn't agree to 4%. I agreed to 2%. Now, what happened is that they went to 4% of our tax dollar. And I caught the city manager, not Mr. Smith, the previous city, Marcus Jones, in the hall. And I said, Marcus, you got to tell me something. You jacked what we agreed up twice, what we agreed on. what did you do with the other 2%? Marcus looked at me and he said, well, I put 1% more to the school system. I said, okay, that's good. That's good. I can live with that. He said, but we took the other 1% and we put it in the general fund so the council could do whatever it wanted to. That did not make me happy. I didn't agree to that. You know, I wanted the funds to go to the school system because we need to lift up this school system. We need to have a solid school system so people will want to have their children to go to school here. Now, tonight, I oppose the increase of 10 cents, and I agree with the lady back here. I think we can live with 3 to 5%. You work with that. You come back and you tell us, this is what we're going to do with your 5%. You give us your priorities. You show us your integrity, your honor, and your transparency that you will carry through, and then come back to us and ask for more if that is proven to be true.
Richard?
Mayor, council, and city manager, thanks for this opportunity. I'm Richard Drumright, and I want to address the budget as an observer of one who's come back home. Most of my adult life I spent in another community. Most of my adult life I spent in government. And most of the time I went to these budget hearings and I would hear the passion of school teachers. Boy, what a challenge they have. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. But observations of a person's come back home. I came back to Norfolk 7 years ago as a widower who married a wonderful lady. I now reside at 7070 Suburban Arch in Suburban Acres, and I'm on their Civic League board. Observations, good and bad, about the city after being gone for 30 plus years, but still having parents being here and visiting here often. Observations. We have to control the tax rate. Tax rate is important. Yes, you need to invest in your city. I think 10 cents at once is too much. I think it could be over time tied to goals and objectives and transparent basis, and I would say, yeah, go to it. Concerns I've seen in my observations and some of the good things. Concerns, school system. I'm a product. I'm the first graduating class of Lake Taylor. I'm a Titan and proud of it. But on the same hand, I'm not proud of a 61% accreditation rate. I want you to be fully funded. Set the bar higher. Set the bar higher and meet it. You have to, if you're going to get young families coming to this community. Some of the other things I've seen that have been very positive. I think the St. Paul initiative can wait a little bit. One of the things I quickly noticed with my wife driving around, that the housing stock has gotten much better. There was far more concerns with blight in the 60s, 70s, and 80s than it is now. Wow, what an improvement. Applaud yourselves with that. Can we improve more? Yes. Can it wait? Yes. Other observations. We have to address flooding. Streets where I grew up as a kid, now when there's a rainstorm, you can't go down the street. It's serious, folks. We're like a cereal bowl. Except for New Orleans, we're probably the second worst off city in the United States. We need to address it and get serious about it. I'd like you to seriously look at some of the capital in this budget that causes it to go to 10%, maybe delay that, delay vehicle replacements. I know how important they are. I spent a career in transportation. I certainly recognize the tough task you have in the Commonwealth, where the prime source of revenue has been, will probably always be, real estate taxes because of the Dillon rule. Thank you very much for your time.
Kenneth Grow and Chuck Flowers.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. My name is Kenneth Groh, live at 3741 Ingle Circle, for 31 years in Ingleside. I'm here to speak mostly, and I'm not against the increase in taxes, and I haven't heard a lot tonight, but I have some offerings on how to save some money maybe. And a lot of it maybe has to do with transportation equipment. The first thing I'll say is that maybe our department heads need to evaluate the use of their vehicles. I hate to be out driving around and see a brand new double cab, big dump truck with one person in it, or maybe two, and not carrying anything. It seems to me that maybe what they're doing could be done with an economy pickup, a lot cheaper and less maintenance. Also on street sweepers, as a resident, we're already required to keep our sidewalks clean. It wouldn't be much of an addition to keep our streets and our communities clean. So we wouldn't have to pay that big money for them, all them street sweepers and maintenance on them. I don't know what happened to the old fleet vehicles that used to have, instead of having 100 different models of vehicles driven around by the city, how about a few models? Fleet economy pickups, economy cars. My observation is that the people driving, it seems like everybody wants their own identity. I don't want to drive the same car somebody else is driving. It seems to me to be a lot cheaper and less maintenance to work on a few models of vehicles instead of 100 models or more. Also same with the street sweeping, communities are always wanting green spaces. Why don't the communities adopt these green spaces and keep them clean themselves? We wouldn't have to buy all them big lawnmowers that, because so many different people drive them, they break them. We can do that ourselves. I have a half circle right out in front of my house. I'm sure I can get the neighbors. We're required to shovel our sidewalks, I think within 4 hours. In Tipperton Place where I live, I think we got 100 homes or so. There was maybe 2 or 3 of us that shoveled our sidewalks, the snow, even though it was going to melt the next day. On the part of, it just seems like I want to talk four-wheel drives. I don't see why we need four-wheel drives. A four-wheel drive is still going to get you stuck if you don't know how to drive it. And if the person that's using this vehicle doesn't have a four-wheel drive to get to work, how's he going to drive it anyhow? And one last point, I'm a city employee every election day as chief officer election at Rosemont. And I have to use my own vehicle. It'd be nice to have a city vehicle. So before you change the rules, I'd like to check out for me a Lincoln Navigator or a Cadillac Escalade. Thank you.
Mayor Alexander and members of council, Mr. Manager, my name's Chuck Flowers. I live at 1327 Laurel Crescent in Norfolk. 30-year police retiree, lifelong Norfolk resident. Currently, I'm the president of the Retired City Employees Association of Norfolk. I'd like to recognize any retiree that's in the audience, if they'd please stand. And my board also came with me to show their support. Some had to leave, but we again appreciate it. We're here basically with the board to express our appreciation and support for the manager's proposed 2% carryover supplement. This is going to give, or if approved, will give a majority of our retirees a much needed increase in pay. We also recognize it was a very difficult budget, and we appreciate all your support. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Barry Bishop and Lawrence Brown.
Good evening. I'm Barry Bishop. I reside at 9508 25th Bay Street.
And let me echo what many others have said and thank all of you all for your service and your leadership, and in particular, Terry Whibley for years of service on the school board and Norfolk City Council. I think this is your last budget hearing. So again, thank you very much for your service. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Greater Norfolk Corporation in support of the new investments recommended in the manager's proposed budget. As a long-term resident of Norfolk, I'm really proud of our city and what we've accomplished. What we are today is the result of bold decisions that, as the mayor so aptly pointed out in his State of the City address, leaders before us made that gave us the momentum that transformed our city. While the work of city building will always be a work in progress, the decisions we make or don't make today, the investments we make or don't make, will reshape and define us for years to come. We held a board planning retreat at Greater Norfolk last month to talk about the primary challenges in Norfolk that need to be addressed and to confirm GNC's priorities as an organization in helping to tackle those challenges. There was universal agreement that addressing poverty remains a big challenge. Way too many of our fellow citizens live in poverty. The reimagining of the St. Paul's Quadrant is an enormous opportunity to show the world how Norfolk can lift people up by building the best early childhood education, career technical and education training, mixed income and mixed use development, cutting edge coastal resiliency design, engineering and implementation, enhanced and affordable broadband. I could go on and on, but suffice to say that the reimagining of the St. Paul's Quadrant has the potential to define our city for years to come. Some have suggested that it's our legacy as a city, and we couldn't agree more. We talked about the importance of a quality school system. We simply cannot be a great city without a great public school system. We talked about the importance of being a safe city and about addressing sea level rise and becoming more resilient. And we talked about the need to invest in our infrastructure and in technology, including ultra high-speed broadband that is affordable and accessible, as well as the importance of developing, attracting, and retaining talent, which is why GNC continues to be a strong advocate for the proposed career technical high school. If these sound familiar, it's because they pretty much mirror the manager's proposed new investments that will address many of the challenges we face as a city, and investments that we strongly support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Alexander, City Council, City Manager, Mr. Smith. My name is Lawrence Brown. I'm a resident of Norfolk, Virginia. I also currently serve as the president of the Norfolk Professional Firefighters Local 68. I stand before you in this capacity as the Local 68's president, representing the men and women of the organization. Tonight, I'm here to lend our strong support for the FY19 city budget, with the previous amendments brought to Council's attention. The amendments deal with various operational training and aspects for Norfolk Fire and Rescue. The budgetary adjustments will preserve our public educational specialists, our bomb squad technician, both critical positions to the citizens of Norfolk and other city agencies. These adjustments will also provide the department members with training, educational opportunities, and will allow them to be the most highly trained in this region. All of these various functions critical to Norfolk Fire Rescue's continuous capacity to provide the quality fire and EMS service that our citizens have become accustomed to. Again, have become accustomed to. In closing, the men and women of Norfolk Fire and Rescue remain dedicated to our citizens of Norfolk. Our mission is to provide a safe living and working environment for our citizens and visitors. Our mission will allow our citizens and visitors to work and live in Norfolk with a welcome level of security and certainty. So join us in making these necessary adjustments that we have discussed in FY19 city budget, that we continue to fulfill our mission. Please, with all the men and women of Norfolk Fire and Rescue, please stand in our support of council and the FY19 budget. You have a good evening. Thank you. And I'm really glad I got to go before the police.
Thank you. Mike Young and Ross Weaver. Mike Young, Ross Weaver.
I'm Mike Young. I live at 6848 Pallister Road. I listen to these teachers. I know a little bit about sacrifice myself. We can't pay people enough for the firefighters. We can't pay, I've been a Marine for 30 years. When you're toting a weapon, people shoot back at you, can't pay them enough. All I can say is, nobody likes to pay taxes. The only thing I will say is this increase will carry on for future years. I don't have a problem paying it. All I ask is that every penny gets accounted for and doesn't get wasted. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for your time. My name is Ross Weaver. I live at 1006 Manio Street here in Norfolk. I just wanted to express my support for the real estate tax increase, specifically the 1 cent that would be directed to resiliency initiatives within the city. I'm someone who's planning on buying a home in Norfolk within the next year or two, and like several people have mentioned, I know it's a hard sell to increase taxes, but in addition to giving the schools and libraries what they need, I really think that it's hard to imagine a wiser investment than to plan for our future resiliency. I work for a small nonprofit that's based in Norfolk called Wetlands Watch, and I focus a lot on researching how cities nationwide are adapting to climate change and recurrent flooding. And so I can say for certainty that this type of creating a dedicated funding stream is something that localities are doing all along the coast and having a lot of success with implementing successful projects on the ground. So again, I believe this is a vital measure to help address some of the much needed stormwater and green infrastructure improvements that are necessary in the city. Another thing I think is important to note is that this type of local funding stream can be really valuable in attracting federal grants, which usually require a local match of some sort. So I think there are a lot of ways to leverage this money and make a big difference for the residents who are already dealing with quite a bit of flooding. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Rickey Ross. Mr. Ross, you are the last speaker that signed up to speak. Rickey Ross, Meadowbrook. Woods.
This is like the cage match at WWE.
You still only get 3 minutes, Rickey. Yeah.
Okay.
Hurry it up.
Well, basically, I agree with everything most people said.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
But I'd just like to say good evening, Mayor Alexander and City Manager Smith and members of council. I'm Rickey Ross. I live at 6830 Orange Wood Avenue in Meadowbrook Woods, and I'm a native of Norfolk and product of NPS, a retired Korean technical education teacher with NPS and civic leader. And as you've heard spoken already, the proposed FY 2019 budget includes a 10-cent real estate tax increase, $1.15 per hundred of assessed value, moving up to $1.25. There's $18,500,000 as stated on page 20 of the budget brief. And I know real estate tax revenue is our largest source of locally generated revenue. In FY 2019, general property taxes are projected to account for over 34.3% of our general fund revenue sources. That's the day-to-day city functions. I recall back in 2016, residential values rose for the first time in 6 years since 2010 when assessments were at their peak. So like many other localities in the region, Norfolk has now again proposed an increase in the real estate tax rate by 10 cents. And thanks to working with previous city manager staff. I haven't had a chance to work with you yet, Mr. Smith, but I'm looking forward to it. But working with previous city manager staff, I too better understand that the effect and value of a 1 cent tax increase, tax rate increase, that is, will increase the homeowner's annual budget bill by an estimated $21, but the annual estimated increase in city revenues is about $1.7 million, okay? So the last 5 cents, or was it 4 cents, I can't recall, increase, that gave us about 4 or 5 schools. And this time around, I was pretty excited to hear about a 10%. Now, you might say, well, why is this guy saying he's excited about hearing about a 10% increase? But I was, because my first initial thought process was this. When I looked at page 20 of the budget brief and I saw the breakdown, and I saw only, 2.7 cents going to schools. Now, that's $5 million out of the $18.5 million. Just give them a little bit more. For me, I mean, I had to write 2 checks yesterday, one to IRS and one to the state. Now, was that easy for me? No, it wasn't. But I'm just saying, and I'm on a fixed income too now as a retired teacher, it was not really rocket science. I know MPS accounts for 37.3% of our projected 2019 general fund expenditures. That's not quite 2/3. But however, the city of Norfolk represents 38.8% of their operating budget. And if you put those 2 budgets side by side and look at it, you know, you guys come in only second, or should I say we, Team Norfolk, we come in second only to the state. And the state just got through figuring out what theirs is going to be. And sometimes it's just that, you know, we have to take care of our own house. And so I just say, please, as you relook at this thing, you know, make the schools the #1 priority. And that's my biggest thing. Make them the #1 priority. If you get them right, I think everything else will fall in place. Okay.
Thank you, Rickey. On behalf of the council, we want to thank all of you for coming out tonight to share with us your thoughts, your concerns, your expression, your passion, your engagement. Certainly, we are transparent. We want to be just as open and as transparent as you have asked us to be, and we will be. This is a process, but on behalf of the council, we thank you for everything that you've said tonight, and we listen intently, and we look forward for your continued comments and feedbacks and remarks so that we can have the city that we all aspire to have, which is the best city in America. Thanks again for being here. This meeting is adjourned.
Good job. So on another note, what are we doing with the dog?
Peggy, you were nice to us today. What happened?
No, you made great points.